Hello viewers, welcome to Corpor Any. Today we need to see this here the Shift UI inside. We need to develop this here the trainer tabs as well as the dietitians tabs need to develop here. First of all, we need to see this here the designs inside the HD files. Now need to open here and look like this here the show inside the this trainer tabs, and this is the dietitians tabs, and also need to make this here the user profiles look like this. We need to develop inside the Shift UI. Let's start how to write down inside the Shift UI. First of all, need to making here the folders and to give this here the names inside, and to create here the new groups and to give this here the names as a trainer, and also on others tabs you need to develop here, create here the new groups and to give this here the dietitians like this, and inside we need to create here the new files and to give this here the name new file, shift UI view and to give this here the name trainer tab screen create like this, creating series. Now need to develop here the z text, and one by one we need to needed image. First of all, need to import inside the asset folders. Now need to open this here the asset folders and to put this here the needed image, and also need to set this here the scale as a single scale, so need to set this here, and now need to go inside the trainers. First of all, need to make this here the needed variables. We need to set this here. Also need to making here the new files. Create here the new files. Shift UI view, and we need to give this here the name trainer file screen. Create like this. And now we need to go inside the trainer tabs and to give this here the names as the states where show detail, and by default need to set this here the false. Now need to create here the data array list array, and now need to make this here the array. I have already prepared this array, and we need to put this here. Now need to copy and to paste this here like this sets. First of all, need to give this here the trainers names, trainer details, which fields inside the trains, then after trainer image, then after the trainer rates and trainer locations. So need to like this. We need to develop here the list array, and now need to create here the one by ones. Now need to develop here the z stack inside. Need to develop here the scroll view, and we need to create here the lazy vertical stacks. We need to use this here, and we need to give this here the spacing are the set here the 15 like this configures, and need to set inside the contents. Now we need to call this here the for each loops. We need to develop here, give this here the data as a 0 to list array counts, and we need to give this here the greater signs, and also need to set this here the id dot slash dot self. Need to set this here, and to index ins need to write down here indexed int, and like this configurations are needs. Now need to get this here the object. Need to write down here the object is equal to, need to set this here the list array, and to give this here the index of value like this sets here. Now need to create here the buttons, and we need to configure this here the actions and labels. We need to set this here. Now show details, set here the true, and also need to make this here the bg nav link extension methods. Need to call this here, and to give this here the trainer profile screens. Need to like the sets, and also need to give this here the dollar show details like this variables. So need this here, and to configure this here for the openings here the profile trainer screens like this. Need two buttons configures are the need this here. Now need to develop here the z stack. Now develop here the horizontal text, and to give this here the edge text inside, and to give this here the spacings are the 15 like this configures, and to set here. So now need to set here the image resource inside, and to give this here the objects, and to pass this here the image, and we need to set as a question marks string questions double quotes like this, and to setting this here the resizables. Then after need to set here the scale to pills, and now we need to set here the pram. Give this here the width as a 50, and height we need to give this here the 50, and now need to set this here the corner radius, and need to set here the 25. Like this configures are the needs here. Now need to develop here the v stacks, and also need to set here the spacing, set as a 0, and now need to set first text. Give this here the value objects, and to pass this here the name property, as need to pass here the optional string blank value. If not gets, then to like this sets, and now need to set here the font, custom font extension methods to call this here, and to set here the mediums, and to set here the 15. Like this configures for this here the fonts. And then after need to set this here the max lab. Like this configurations are the needs here. And another text fields we need to develop here, and we need to set this here, set as a details. And now need to set here the fonts as a light font, and we need to set here the 12. Like this configuration here. And now need to develop here the rating bars. Need to create here the horizontal text, and need to set here the for each loop 0 to get this here the index of value object brackets inside, to give this here the rates, as need to pass question mark integers, and to give this here the 0 like this, and set here the id rest dot self this, and to set this here the indexed in. Now we need to pass here the image resource. We need to give this here the system names, and to pass this here the star fill, and now need to create here the font size system size, and to give this here the 12, and also need to set this here the background color yellow for the rating. Like this configures are the needs here, and now need to set here the spacing. And first of all need to set this here the locations image. Need to configure this here location, and now need to set here the resizables scale to fill, and now need to give this here the frame as a width. You need to set this here the 12, also need to give this here the height as a 12. Like this configures, and now also need to configures here the space, set here 8, and now give this here the text, remove this here, and also need to set here the 12 light, and need to set here the location. Like this configures for the cells. And after, now need to check this here over this here the buttons, and to give this here the radius as a all 15s, set here the paddings all 15th, and now need to set here the max left, and also need to set here the foreground colors. Need to give this here the primary text, and then after need to set this here the background colors color dot white, and also need to set this here the corner radius, set here the 10, and also need to set here the shadow, set as a 2. Like these configurations are the needs here, and now need to set here the all 15. Like these configurations are the needs, and to set this here the UI, and also need to configure inside the main tab view. Now need to go and to set this here the trainer tab view screen. Like this needs here, And now also need to create here the dietitian screens, but after we need to first of all the creating here the trainer profile screens we need to develop here. Now first of all we need to create here the environment variables for the back buttons configurations are the needs. We need to set here the environments and slash dot presentations modes where mode colons is equal to binding, and to pass this here the presentation class mode like this sets, and also need to set here the another state variables, and to set here the is trainer or not like this need to pass here configurations are the needs here by default as a true like this sets here. Now need to develop here the z stack, and we need to set this here the nav hide like this configures, and now need to develop here the vertical text, and we need to pass here the spacing as a 0 like this. We need to configure here. Now we need to develop here the app bars. First of all we need to give this here the workout plans introduction screens, and we need to copy here the any workouts here like this data, and we need to set here complete the scroll view, and also need to remove here the background colors, and we need to set here the back buttons as a black colors like this sets. Remove this here the text, and we need to set here the max left like these configurations are the needs here, and to configure this here. Now need to develop here the lazy vertical text, and to also need to set here the spacing, and we need to set here the 15s and to creating like this here UI. Now develop here the horizontal text, and to give this here the spacings as a 15, and now need to develop here the image, give this here the resource as a tree profile like this here, and resizables, and then after need to set here the scale to fill, and also need to set this here the frame as a width as a 100, and also need to set here the heights as a 100 like this configures, and also need to set here the corner radius as a 10 15s like this. Need to configure this here. Now need to develop here the user profile related UI. Need to set here the stack, and to give this here the spacing, give this here the for like this sets here. So now need to set here the text property, and to set the titles Ashish Chutake, and now need to set here the fonts custom font extension methods. Need to call this here, and now need to set here the semi bold, and you give this here the font size as a 18 like this configures, and also need to set this here the max left. Need to configure this here. Then after need to displaying here the details. Need to set here the specialist in fitness like this, and also need to change this here the fonts as a 12, and to set here the light font max left like this configures here. Now need to develop here the horizontal text, and we need to pass this here the spacing. We need to set here the 15 like this develop, and now need to create here the button action, and put this like here. Now need to set here the text. We need to copy here, paste this here. Now need to set this here the max center, and we need to set this here the fonts as a semi bolds 15s like this configures here, and we need to set this here the data. Now need to draw here the UI. First of all need to set this here the foreground colors. Need to set here the primary text. Then after need to give this here the paddings as a 8 like this configures, and after need to set here the background color. Need to give this here the colors primary app colors, we need to set this here, and also need to set this here the corner radius, need to set here the 10, and also need to another buttons need to develop here. Now need to copy and to paste this here and change this here the first one titles as a follow, and second one is the contact. Like these buttons are the developings are the dones, and also need to making this here the locations. Now again, so need to develop this here the horizontal stack, and we need to give this here the spacing 8, like this sets here. So now need to develop here the image resource and to give this here the location, and set here the resizables scale to fit, and we need to set this here the frame width. We need to give this here the 12, and also need to set here the height as a 12, like this configures. Now need to set here the text Mumbai, need to set this here, and we need to set this here the fonts as a light, and to give this here the 12, and also need to set this here the max depth. Like this configurations are the needs here, and to develop here the horizontal text, this UI are the done as a top, like this configures are we need to set this here, and then after need to develop this here the ratings, followings and followers, we need to show this here. First of all, need to create here the horizontal text, and to give this here the spacings, need to set here the 15, and now need to develop here the wish tag, and now need to copy this here, paste this here. Now need to set this here the custom fonts as a set as a 12, and need to set here the bold, and need to give this here the value 5 4/5, like this configures. Also need to copy again, and now need to set here the titles as a rating, and now need to set this here the regular fonts, and need to set here the 12, like these configurations are the needs, and to set here the centers. Also need to change second row, like this configures, and also need to develop here the dividers. Now need to copy here this data, to paste this here, again paste, and to remove here the last dividers. Now give this here the followings, and set here the following titles. After need to set here the followers, like this. Need to set this here, and again need to develop this here the horizontal stack for the drawing here the social buttons. Create here the horizontal stacks. Now need to create here the button actions, like this, and to develop here the image resource. Now need to pass this here the color FB, and set here the resizables. Then after need to set here the scale to fit. Also need to configure this here the frame, give this here the heights, need to set here 25, and to set here the max centers. Now again need to copy, and to create here the another social buttons, paste this here. Now we need to set this here the Twitter buttons, give this here the Twitter buttons image TW. Also need to change this here the Instagram buttons IN, like this sets, and last one is the YT for the YouTube, like these configurations are the needs. And now need to greetings done things, and to create here the divider, and now need to another buttons need to developing here the UI first of all, actions, like this configures. And now to set here the wish text, first of all need to copy any wish text here, and we need to paste this here. Now we need to set here the titles at the certifications, and also need to set here the titles advanced trainings certifications ISSA, like this. Paste this here. Now need to set here the font 14, and we need to set here the bolds, and last one is the regular 12, and center like this configure sears, and now need to develop here the button UI. Need to first of all need to set this here the vertical 15s and horizontals 20 like this configures, and now need to develop here the background colors. Give this here the colors text bg, and then after need to set this here the corner radius as a set here the 10, and after need to develop this here the overview overlay, and need to create here the rounded rectangles with the radius, and to set this here the tens, and now need to develop here the stroke. Give this here the colors border, and now need to set here the line width, set here the 1 like this. Configurations are the needs, and to save this here. Also now need to copy here this data, and need to paste this here. Again need to paste, and again need to paste here like this here, and to configure this here. Now give this here the awards buttons, set here the titles award, and now need to set here the based in muscles building. Then after need to set this here the publish articles. Now need to copy here, and to set here the titles publish articles. Give this here the subtitles. Same as now to set here the conference and export attention attendant, and to give this here the value like this is. Also again need to copy, and last need to develop here. Paste this here, and now need to set here the personal training clients and feedbacks. Need to pass this here, and need to check this here the conditions is trainer, and like this show, otherwise need to show only feedback like here, and also need to set this here the value of this button, and done this here. Also need to set here the foreground colors. Need to set here the primary text, and after need to set this here the horizontal 20 and vertical 15 like these configurations are the need this years. And now trainer profiles screens are the done. Now need to copy this here the trainer tab screens same as. Now need to copy, and we need to paste this here this data, and now need to go inside the dieticians. First of all need to create here the dieticians tab screen, create here the new files, and to give this here the select here the shift UI view, and to create here the new next, and to give this here the names the dietitians tab screen creates here. Now need to paste this here the data, and to set this here only make here the UI not any difference. That's why I need to API calling times need to set here the dynamic data. Now UI both UI are the same, that's why to copy and paste, and now need to set here the one flex each trainers set here the false like this. Configurations are the needs, and now need to save this here. Also now need to go inside the top tab view screen, and need to configure this here the UI as a dietitians tab screen like this here. Now need to run these apps inside the simulators. Change here the tabs. First of all need to set here the trainers look like this, compare with the UI XD. Look like this, showing here the this data like show. And also need to click once and open this here the profiles similar to show this here the UI, and look like this here the similar to show this here. Now need to click on back, same as. Now need to change this here the dietitian tabs. Now need to opening here. Also need to check here and to set this here the feedback tabs. Now need to dietitian tab profiles are also need to done this here. If you like this video, please give the thumbs up. If you're new user, so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new video notifications and awesome content. If you have any question, so please write down the comment sections. I will help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.